This is your host, Random Nerd, on the Critical Thinking Nerd podcast. This week, there is no howdy, there is no smiles or happiness. This week is filled with somber sadness, but also a burning fire. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I saw a post that ultra-conservative Ben Shapiro is canceling public events. This is the wrong move, and I pray for his safety. But this is exactly what the domestic terrorists want. You heard me correctly. The people and individuals who have celebrated the destruction of the United States are domestic terrorists. The individuals who celebrated the attempt on president candidate at the time, Donald Trump, and celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk are domestic terrorists. I'm done playing nice. I tried to share my voice with you, but the deliberate acts to murder U.S. citizens and the deliberate actions to remove voices of different opinions have created a burning fire to share my voice even more. I have done thorough research on these topics, but I admit I don't know everything. But I take the time to research and learn. That's all it is, to research and learn. Yes, there is critical thinking that plays into the research, but that's the joy of what I do. What I share with you now, share your voice for truth. We, the people of the United States of America, stand united. Do not allow fear or threats against you to shrink into a corner. Do not allow these acts of senseless violence to make you fearful and be silenced. Today of this recording, September 11, 2025, marks 24 years from the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Centers in Manhattan, New York. I remember that day. I was in middle school, and while I didn't see everything, I learned what the tragic events were about. My message to you is this: do not let yourself be silenced. I want to share something with you that I was planning for another episode. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution. The preamble begins with "We the people." 3 words that define the U.S. Constitution and our government. These words mean the power of the government comes from you, the citizens, not a king, president, or elite group. This is called popular sovereignty, and it's the foundation of our constitutional republic. In 1787, when the Constitution was written, this was a bold idea. The founders, like James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, had just fought a revolution against King George III, who ruled without the people's consent, taxing them and jailing them unfairly. They wanted a government where citizens hold the ultimate authority. Popular sovereignty means you choose your leaders through elections. Your vote picks your representatives in the House, senators, and indirectly the president through the Electoral College. It also means you can change the government. Now, I pause here because I want to be very clear about this next part. I do not ever support or advocate for political violence. What I do support is the principles and values of the U.S. Declaration of Independence and the principles and values of the U.S. Constitution. From the first 2 paragraphs of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, this is accessible from the National Archives website. In Congress, July 4, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature and of nature's God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath soon that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and suppressions pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute disposition, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. From what I just read, this is my call to action. The immediate civil removal and prosecution of all elected officials and individuals who have voiced for violence against political and non-political persons. I also call to action the immediate civil removal and prosecution of judicial judges, lawyers, magistrates that deliberately allow the release of multiple offender criminals. It's we, the people of the United States of America. I leave you with two names, Charlie Kirk and
say the name Irina Zarutska. Irina Zarutska was just riding public transit. By the way, she was a refugee from Ukraine, of all places, and she came to Charlotte, North Carolina. And a terrible person, well, you saw what happened. I can't describe it here on TikTok without some sort of community guideline being violated. But if you haven't seen the video, you absolutely should. This individual should not have been on the streets, 14 prior arrests. And it really makes you wonder, why are we putting up with this? Why are we allowing so many people that have committed these crimes to keep on being released? The magistrate judge continued to release this individual, and this is a horrific thing. You know, it's really interesting. The media was totally covering George Floyd, tens of thousands of articles, reconfigured and changed the entire American body politic. And when it came to Irina Zarutska, the entire media was quiet, silent. In fact, we forced them to cover the story. Why do you think that is? What was the difference between George Floyd and Irina Zarutska? Why did the left care so much about George Floyd and they couldn't care less about Irina Zarutska? What could the difference be? I wonder. Would love for you guys to leave some comments.